you actually got into the industry?
Yeah, so I guess before real estate, so left school, I got a job building. Didn't like building. Was there for about 6 months and thought, hey, this isn't for me. I actually started painting cars. So I ended up painting cars for about 6 to 7 years. In the same time I was painting cars, I was buying cars, doing them up, fixing them up, and then selling them to make a profit. Kind of my own little version of sales. And yeah, doing that. Then got to kind of like the peak of car painting, running shops, qualified, like working at prestige car refurbishing places, all the Europeans, like hundreds of $1,000s of cars, and just thought, where am I going from here? And always had like an interest in sales. My family's been in sales for my mum, my grandfather, and then just thought, hey, we'll give real estate a shot. I knew someone, I was actually at the pub with a friend, and he just left building to go insulation sales. I was saying to him at the pub, I said, hey, well, look, I really want to give Mike Thomas from Logic a call and just see if I've got what it takes. And he's like, no, I'll do it. And I said, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. He's like, no, you're not leaving the pub until you make that call. I was like, okay. So went outside, made the call, teed up a meeting with Mike Thomas for the next day, and then, yeah, the rest is history.
Man, I love that, especially just being able to go and take that action immediately. Has that I guess ethos transferred into any part of your career so far? Like that idea of instead of doing it tomorrow or instead of writing it down for next week, it's like I'm just going to go and take the action now. Like let's if I'm going to do it, like let's just move through it today. Has that
Yeah.
transpired into any part of your career so far?
It did take me a while, so I was always like I'd talk about it. I'd talk about doing the thing. I'd say I'll do the thing, and I never did the thing. And then it probably took me probably my first 2 years of real estate because I was quite an introvert. I didn't put myself out there as much, and I didn't back myself. Probably 2 years into real estate, the confidence built up and turned from a hey, I'll talk about it to a do-it person, and that's really helped my business. Definitely just backing yourself, and being around people like my mate at the pub that actually back you as well, definitely helps you move forward.
I relate so much to that. Do you mind me asking, what was the mentality shift after those 2 years that you started to build that confidence to take the action? And if you could go back to year one and year two version of Chase, what advice would you actually give him to work through that a little bit faster? Because, man, that's probably the biggest issue across the board, not just with agents, but people looking to move forward in their career. It's that idea of, oh, maybe tomorrow, or oh, they're going to get annoyed if I call, or like this internal dialogue that we carry with ourselves often holds us back. Like, well, I'd love to be able to dive in what specifically helped you through that period.
Honestly, you can put it simply, is care less. Like, obviously, in real estate, you've got to care about your business, your clients, all that sort of stuff. But personally, internally, just care less. The more noise you have in your head, and I've first-hand experiences, had so much noise in my head starting real estate, people not believing I could do it. You could hear people talking, like I knew people weren't believing in me. And once I let go of that noise and stopped caring what people thought about me, started putting myself out there, putting myself and my family first, honestly, my career just, it took off.
And were there some moments that it helped more than others? Like, was it maybe being able to do some calls or to do some prospecting or to do some callbacks after an open home? Like, what were the situations that you found it actually helped the most? Then you almost maybe not got an instant return, but that gratification came a little bit faster than other
Yeah,
areas.
I guess you start like everyone doesn't like doing the cold calls and everything like that. You're calling people back from open homes. You have to do it because that's part of the job. But that's the scary part because 9 times out of 10 you're getting told no. People aren't answering. People aren't responding. But yeah, that was the biggest part. Actually having that confidence to make those calls, and you meet someone at an open home and they have a property to sell, and kind of like that imposter syndrome. You don't think you're quite good enough to list that property or say, hey, that's in a nicer area, I'm not going to call them back. But you back yourself and you actually do make those calls. You take that risk, and all they're going to say is no. And then look, in 2 years they're probably going to see you and they might have another property to sell. And that's that guy, but look what he's doing now. And oh, he actually rang me, gave me good service, he followed me out. Might actually list with him. Yeah.
Totally. And then what has your journey been like after that 2 years of maybe that imposter syndrome or self-doubt? And I'd love to be able to dive into what challenges you faced next after that, because that's kind of phase one, being able to believe yourself, back yourself, and take the action. What were the next phases of difficulties that you came into?
Yeah, I guess I can't really think of many difficulties as per such, but consistency and balance were a huge thing for me. I guess second year into real estate, I met my now wife. She was actually in real estate as well. She's been in real estate for 8 years. We met looking at each other across the auction room and thought, hey, yep, you're a bit of me, you're a bit of... Ended up getting together. So yeah, getting out the work-life balance, because I've got two kids now. I've got a 3-year-old and a now 3-month-old. Because I built my business and basically I made Mike a promise. He was number 7 in the company. I told him I wanted to give him number 2, and that took me working 7 days a week, like basically sacrificing friendships, time out with friends. Best thing was my wife was in real estate, so she understood. She could see what I was doing for our family, for our future. But I sacrificed a lot to get there. And that was really, it was the balance, actually, to find a bit more life amongst work. Because you see a lot of these successful agents, and I have a few in our office, they work 24/7, 7 days a week. But I didn't want to be there. I wanted to kind of, hey, okay, let's step back and I want to spend some time with my family, spend some time with my wife, and enjoy this life. So I actually, after probably burning out a couple of times, probably more than a couple of times, we ended up kind of making a structure. So we have every Friday off. That's kind of our family day. Don't do any appointments unless I really need to. And that's kind of how the balance was a big thing.
And is that what your version of success has now been able to grow into, where you can operate at a high level, you can sell, obviously a high volume of properties, but making sure that it doesn't come at the cost, or it doesn't come at the cost too often of that important family time or the friendship time?
Yeah, 100%. And like as I say, my first 2 years of real estate, I thought success was, you're driving the nice car, you've got the nice house, you've got the big gold tick beside your name because you've sold hundreds of millions of property. And look, to a point it is. It's your reputation, you've done well, you've earned your stripes. But yeah, definitely in the last, since I've had my son, success is being able to balance that, being able to provide for him and actually being a role model to him to work hard. You can get what you want, but also have time for your family and not sacrificing that time to be successful.
Man, it's interesting. We're talking about this at the moment. I'm reading a book called The Almanac of Naval, and it's about Naval Ravikant, who's one of, arguably the most successful venture capitalist, philosophers, just all round amazing, kind of business people out of the US. And he talks about the difficulty of being able to be dissatisfied with where you currently are. So that way it gives you enough pressure to go and make the change so you can chase that better version of yourself. But if you're constantly in that game, you're going to be playing that game forever. And then the other side is, if you are too grateful for what you have and you kind of sit in that, too much happiness, too much peace, well, you're never actually going to do anything that challenges you. And there's this real difficulty of being able to be, grateful and enjoy what you have, and have that presence with the family, but also being able to look in the mirror and be like, no, I've got more in the tank, like I can do better. And there's this real kind of push and pull that we constantly go through, man.
I relate to that so much. Honestly, that first part especially, like the satisfaction, totally understand. But that's the thing, like, I guess with work, definitely, like, I'm very rarely satisfied, honestly. And that's even when I was car painting, I wasn't satisfied with where I was. I was always trying to find my way to the top, and especially with real estate, there's no ceiling. So that's definitely true. But I think one thing is, when you actually have that family time and you're rewarded from working hard with that family time, that's a piece of satisfaction that I can sit there for a while and actually enjoy and all take in.
What practical advice would you have for a young dad or a young mum that's an agent that they could take into their week? Is it a way that you set up your Sundays and there's a family structure, or like you mentioned earlier, you've got your Fridays, but like maybe what are some practical things that we could share with the audience that's listening for them to, make an improvement on that work-life balance?
Yeah, like I guess a lot of our work is done out of hours. People that finish at 5 o'clock, they need to be serviced up until 8, 9 o'clock at times. I actually learned this from Marty Fox. So what he did, and this is what I've actually put into my business as well, is if I've got late night appointments or have heaps of calls to do late night, I'll come home, I'll either have dinner or bath my kids during the week, and then I'll get back on the phone or go back out to do appointments. So I've come, I'll spend that time, 40 minutes to an hour, spend that time with my family, then go back out. But then also just having that one day that's a non-negotiable, like family day, because you can always have half a day, but it's not the same as waking up in the morning, knowing you've got your whole day with your family. Hey, you're going to take calls, you're going to field calls, you're going to get your team to help you out with some things, but just having that whole day, you can wear shorts and a t-shirt and yes, have that dedicated to your family. I think keeping that structure is good, and keeping that time through busy days and making sure you have that time set out is key. It's just like you go to the gym for your muscles, but you have that time for your family instead.
Totally. And mate, this is a completely selfish question because I'm battling this at the moment. When you have that family time, how do you go at being present? Because I'm with the kids, but I'm like, like, is it like, have you got that nailed and you've got the secret sauce for me there, or is that something you have to consciously
Yeah.
get yourself into like family zone, phone away? Do you face that challenge as well?
Yeah, it's keeping this away. That's the key. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you honestly can't. Like if I'm having bath time or dinner time, I want to put my phone away. I want to put it to the side, but there's like a little itch, and it's like, have I got a text? Has a vendor rung me? You can't scratch that itch. It's just real estate. But I think just having some of those times, put it away for half an hour. That's the best thing. But no, I wish I had the secret sauce on that one too.
Okay, we can both work on that together. We can come back in a few months and see how we go.
Perfect.
I'd love to talk because I know you've got a team that you work with.
Yes.
Would you mind diving into, I guess, how many people you have in your team and some of the roles and responsibilities that they look after?
Yes. Yep. So as I said earlier, I came on with Mike Thomas. He was a sole agent. He's been a top performer in New Zealand for about 36, 37 years. He's number 2 in the country back, I think it was the 90s, early 2000s. So he's a good performer. So I went on with him, his only team member, had a PA, and then kind of roles reversed. Mike wanted to take a step back, so I was like, okay, well, keen to take control. So I met my girlfriend, who's now my wife. She joined us. She was in another team, and it was only natural once we started that relationship for her to progress in with us, because we started getting co-listings together, same people we knew wanted to sell. So she jumped in with us, and she's kind of we'd say a lead agent, but works a lot of buyers too. We've got Tej, who we took on 2 years ago. He was at Ultimate Properties, another company here in Hamilton, did a lot of new build development. He started at Lodge, did a few open homes for us, so I thought he was a really good operator. He gave good feedback, good service, really impressed with him, so had a coffee with him, and he started with us as basically another lead agent, working a lot with buyers too. And then another guy, Blake Agnew, who we recently took on in January from another company. He actually approached us last year after seeing what we were doing, and we had a couple of coffees, and he really wanted to learn from us and some good opportunities. So it was kind of a no-brainer seeing, again, the feedback he was giving, the service to his clients. And I think he did about 40 odd deals in his first year, which was outstanding for a first-year agent. So we were very pleased to welcome him on board. And then we've got a full-time operations manager. So she's actually been with Mike for, I think, about 14 years now, and then transitioned when I took over the business too. And she's just amazing. Like, she is the backbone of our business. If we didn't have Brenda, we wouldn't be able to perform the way we do.
Epic. And I'd love to hear your philosophy on what building the team actually meant to you, because I've kind of heard two different sides to the story where people push their business to the point where the problem needed to be solved, and then other people were looking to hire early based on the forecasted, growth, and then them just understanding they won't be able to perform at that capacity due to the level of service that they're looking to give their agents. Which side of the coin did you go for? Was it more, hey, we're at that point where we need this person, or we're trying to forecast? And then when you're bringing people on, what are some key things for people to consider when looking to grow their team?
Yeah, so I guess we were more so, we waited till we really needed to. But even when we really needed to have someone on, like I was still doing like 8 open homes a Saturday, 8 open homes a Sunday. Mike was running the same, Zoe's running the same. We were kind of stretching ourselves because we didn't have that right person. So we really were under a bit of pressure, but still making sure everything was serviced until we found that right person and then added them to the team. So really, when we've needed someone, we've expanded. Didn't want to expand too quick and get the wrong people in just to get bigger and just to do a few more deals. It's getting the right people on board was big for Mike and I, and Zoe. What was the second part of your question, sorry?
And just in regards to bringing them on, is there, your roles and responsibilities that you're looking to plug them into, or is it more, like you said, someone great approached you and then you're kind of finding a position for them? What does that onboarding process look like for you?
Yeah, so I guess Blake's a good example of that. We weren't exactly looking for someone. We had the capacity for someone, but we weren't really looking, we weren't scouting out, and he came along, had a couple of coffees and basically threw us the bone saying, look, we'd really like to have a chance with you guys. And after talking with him, catching up, it was a no-brainer. We got him in and basically just wants to learn. He's just a hungry individual who I think is going to be, well, this year I'd say he's going to be one of the top buyers agents in our city, which will be great. And he's got a capacity to be a great listing agent in the future too.
Awesome. And mate, you're one of the most well-known and well-respected agents, within your group and also the region. For an agent that's coming into the industry, what advice would you be passing on to them to ensure they have a successful few years? And success may not necessarily look like doing lots of deals, as we know. For some people, it could be more skill accumulation. What advice would you give to someone that's coming in those first couple of years?
Like consistency. Consistency is the biggest thing. I worked 7 days a week for my first 3 years and didn't bat an eyelid, but like you can go up against some really sharp operators that have got the experience and skill, but in my eyes, consistency will always beat skill and experience. And then if you're that consistent, that skill and experience will build and compound, and you've got all three, you're going to be unstoppable. Consistency is a big thing, and do the basics right. Like you see so many people that, just go host an open home, put it up on social media, do all that sort of stuff. Don't call everyone back for Monday or Tuesday. It's like, finish your open homes, go back to the office, make those callbacks, win the appraisal before the other agent wins the appraisal, win the buyer, get them back through before anyone else does. Be the first one on the phone. So basically beat them to the punch. And another, I guess, it's kind of a pain point I see as well as new agents coming in, they lose credibility before they've even gained it. So people see, real estate agents now, because there's so much social media and billboards and presence out in the public, they put together, the social media and they go start giving advice from the first, second, third week. My advice is get off social media for your first 6 months, because you're going to offer advice when you haven't even really sat in the driver's seat, you're still in the passenger seat, and you're offering these people advice on their big $1 million plus assets. Get some credibility and some experience, some runs on the board, shadow some people for the first 6 months to a year, then really pump your profile out once you've got the experience to be credible.
That can be such a challenge for an agent because they come into the industry and they want to be that authority. They go, I've got my license, I need to be the expert, even though they don't have the collation of information to be able to pass on. I've actually got a good friend in Australia. He's become one of the top agents in New South Wales, and he completely played on his newness and his naivety. So he was very successful in his previous industry, and he had his core farm area, and he went and door knocked it and basically said, hey, I'm a brand new agent, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't actually sell your house at the moment because I don't know what I'm doing. He did his lap around, and he ended up getting his first listing. And then he went back around and he said, you wouldn't believe it, someone trusted me, I've got my first listing. He went back around again after he'd sold it. You wouldn't believe it, I actually got a record price. And he kind of built his authority around being authentic and I am new, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, but look at me, I'm now doing it. I did the thing, and he took people on the journey of actually building that reputation rather than just kind of coming along like, I've done my real estate license, I am a financial expert, I'm your accountant, I'm everything you need me to be.
But how can you forget that as a vendor if you're coming around knocking on the door saying, give me a listing, no, I've got one down the right. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting way to build his profile.
Yeah, again, but that's authentic. That's probably who he is. Like authenticity in this industry is huge. Like you can try to be someone else, you can put on a false facade, but People see through it. Like, I think I actually heard Richard say on that podcast, like, this is a trust game, like it's a people game. And people trust you, respect you, they need to rely on you. But if you're not genuinely yourself, if you're not authentic, people aren't going to do that. They're going to see straight through it.
Man, I'd love to finish off on this authenticity piece. For agents that have been around for a couple of years, it can be a little bit difficult to find their lane. You know, like they watch you, or they might hear someone else in the office and they're trying to take bits and pieces, but they haven't been able to put it in their own way. What advice would you have for someone that's trying to take the advice or the lessons that they're learning around them and actually put it into what works for them?
Ooh, it's a hard one, eh? It's like, I think if you, like, back to that consistency thing, if you are picking up things, I did this in my office. There's one top operator in our office. He's been in our office ever since I've been in real estate, Glenn Collins. I used to sit in the office and listen to his conversations. No one else would be in the office from 5 to 7 o'clock at night, and I'd just be twiddling on my laptop looking like I'm doing something, but I'm just listening to how he's calling back his buyers, how he's talking to his vendors. True story. And I took those snippets and took that, and I just, every little chance I had to put that into my business and have that dialogue and that experience, I just do it. Just don't forget it. Be a sponge. Suck everything up around you. And ask those top agents for coffees. Like, everyone's actually really open to sharing. I know we have a few young agents in our city. They say, hey, can you have a coffee? I'm always like, yeah, let's have a coffee. Let's have a catch up. I'll try to help you. There's enough business out there for everyone. And as I say, if you're consistent enough, you take those good bits and pieces, be a sponge, consistency to experience and skill, you're going to be unstoppable.
Awesome. Chase, this has been fantastic, man. I think for so many people that have listened, you've been able to not only give some practical advice, but I guess how Richard put it was the psychological warfare of real estate. You've been able to give some real clarity around how you've got through those challenging stages at the beginning. So really appreciate your time and love to have you on again in the future.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having us on. It's it's been fun.